So I just watched this documentary, Uncle Tom, with the genius Larry Elder. And I gotta say, it was among the most awesomest documentaries I've ever seen. Very, very informative, very smart, very intelligent. In fact, the most informative, intelligent documentaries I've ever seen. So this documentary targets the African American community and tries to convince them stop voting Democrat, with the implication that voting Democrat equates to voting against their interest. And the way I see it, it's basically telling all people to stop voting Democrat, or all people that already vote Democrat to stop voting Democrat. Particularly, of course, the African American community. But I would also say the Hispanic American community as well. Now, I'm Hispanic, by the way. Chicano in particular. Mexican American, for those of you who don't know what Chicano means. And yeah, I'm very light-skinned. I pass as white in most circumstances. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because in many aspects, Hispanics, Mexican Americans, Chicanos are in the same boat as African Americans are in this country. Of course, to a lesser extent, sure. We are plagued by many of the same issues that the African American community is, again, to a lesser extent. And we also vote blue. But so the documentary is essentially saying, hey, stop voting Democrat. You're voting against your own interest, especially if you're black. So if you all still haven't watched this documentary, Uncle Tom, I would highly encourage you to do so. Because, look, I'll give you guys some insight into how just amazing it really is. And how amazing it is to switch, or just to vote Republican, really. So here's what this documentary is saying. Hey, blacks, stop voting Democrat. Why? Because racism isn't really a problem. You see, it's not racism that's holding you back. Guess what is? Nothing is holding you back as a black individual, as African Americans. Nothing is holding the black community back. Nothing is holding you back from all the successes that white Americans attain. So stop voting Democrat, because the Democrats are racist and they're holding you back. More evidence. According to the very supremely intelligent Candace Owens, if you go to school nowadays to get educated, you're actually getting diseducated. Essentially, the documentary, is telling us that we should really listen to her because she's an educated black woman. Oh, and you know who else is in this documentary? Herman Cain. I mean, it really sucks that he went to that Trump rally and eventually got COVID and died. I mean, may he rest in peace. But other than that, he's a really smart guy. We should listen to him. I mean, he's really just laying it out there. He's saying, look, I'm black. I was able to go to college, make something of myself, and so can you. But here's the kicker. Don't get educated because you're actually getting diseducated. And so he's also, agreeing with Candace Owens that going to college actually makes you dumber. Here's another message by this documentary, which I thought was just fabulous, that black people should be able to behave however they want, and they can think, have the whatever values that they want. They shouldn't be held down by the black community, that they're all individuals, and these expectations placed upon the black community because they're black. Don't listen to that if you're black. You shouldn't be expected to vote Democrat or do any particular thing just because you're black. Oh yeah, and then that priest, towards sort of the end of the documentary, he's also telling us hey, don't be expected to do certain things and think certain things think a certain way just because you're black. And then he points out, that Maxine Waters is, this black woman that's helping immigrants, and that what the hell is she doing helping immigrants? There's a ton of black people that she could be helping instead. And I just thought, that's a really amazing, that's a really great point, Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, stop voting Democrat because they push for policies that are supposed to give you a leg up in life, to help you, get ahead. But that's dumb because what they think that black people are children that need help, like as if black people can't do things for themselves. Black people don't really need help. What the hell are you, children? Voting for Democrats and voting for policies that are meant to help your community is actually bad, because then what happens is, instead of making responsible decisions and lift yourself up by the bootstraps, you'll all just sort of take the easy route and just sort of allow the government to do everything for you, and you become dependent like children. And then you'll just get stuck into poverty because you can't make decisions on your own. You need the Republican Party. Like, it's so racist for the Democrats to assume that you need help, so they're holding you back. Instead, if you really want to get ahead, according to the documentary, and I agree, vote for the party that won't do shit for you. The Republican Party. Because after all, you don't need the government. So anyways, to sum up this amazing documentary, black people, nothing is holding you back. There is no real racism that holds any black person back. You're all adults who can make your own decisions. So stop voting Democrat, goddammit, because they're the racists and they're holding you back. I mean, they're for the social safety net that makes it that you can't make the correct decisions. You become dependent on them. Plus, they're racist. So vote Republican, because the Republican Party won't do shit for you. And that is what you really need. Peace out. Nailed it.